Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Tonight is the August 30th, 2018 Town Board meeting. Before we begin, we have a special guest with us here tonight, Madison Anderson. She's 9 years old. She is a member of the non-for-profit organization Silver Starlights, and that is a travel baton twirling team. Maddie has been twirling since she was 3 years old and has traveled to South Bend, Indiana 7 times. Maddie most recently traveled to South Bend, Indiana, where she competed against kids her age from around the country and won one of the biggest titles out there, the Juvenile Grand National Twirling Champion. So she's going to lead us in the pledge, and then hopefully she can give us a little demonstration.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madison. And I have a little certificate for you. This is from the town board, and the residents of East Fishkill would like to commend Madison Anderson for your achievement as a member of the Silver Starlights. Your hard work and dedication preparing for the National Majorette Contest has rewarded you with the title of Juvenile Grand National Twirling Champion. This achievement is something to be proud of. Congratulations. And if you'd like, you could give us a little presentation, Madison. We would all love to see that. Thank you, Madison. Thank you very much. Lucky to have a resident. No, not me, Peter. I can't do that. Before my announcements, Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilperson Cassidy?
Present.
Councilperson Marinaro?
Present.
Councilperson Franco?
Present.
Councilperson Beepin?
Present.
Supervisor D'Alessandro?
Present. Thank you, Clerk. I'll start with my announcements. I have a couple, if you could bear with me. So, you know, summer is here. It is flying by. Many projects going on in our town. And everybody told me, wait till the summer gets here, you'll see how busy it is, and they didn't lie. We started the month, I had a meeting with my town engineer and our consulting engineer, Morris Associates. They informed the town that they have sold their business to Clark Patterson Lee, but the same professionals will be still representing our town. They're a much larger firm, and that's great because they have other professionals that we could use for other projects if needed. So that was good to hear from them. I met with some property owners down Route 52 corridor who are interested in water and sewer. We started expanding some of the zones, the zoning down there on the Route 52 corridor in the Hopewell Hamlet. We're going to be presenting them. I'm going to present them to the town board, and we're going to have a public hearing in the future about implementing more zoning. So with that, more companies are going to be coming, so it's starting to get really exciting down that corridor. I also met with residents from Worley Homes to review the information about the new water district. That's first of our public hearings tonight. I want to thank them for coming in. It was very productive. They had a lot of questions. We answered a lot of them. And it's important for us to answer these questions. You know, the residents are spending more money to have clean water, and it's important to them to make sure that they get all the information that is needed, and that's our job. So I thank them for coming in. The East Fishkill Rotary, we had a very nice luncheon. They invited me. It was at Julie's Jungle. I attended with one of our police officers, Ralph Bertoldi. They presented the police department with a donation for the new canine. They have given over $10,000 to date to Julie's Jungle, and they're a really great organization. A big thank you to them all. They give to many different organizations, and if you can support our Rotary, please do. I met with Stephen Gruber and our town engineer and the engineer assistant to go over some of the issues at Hillside Lake. We really want to get a solid date when we could get the grant project started. A large amount of rainwater has hindered us on doing some of the work we wanted to do there. We want to lower the level of the lake so we could remove the sediment. We have a permit for that already. And we also wanted to, in hand with lowering the level of the lake, we could do topography pictures to see what the contour of the bottom of the lake looks like. Then we can have a better understanding moving forward. The main objective is the grant project and to remove the sediment. And we want to declassify or lower the classification of the dam. The dam is a big expense for the town if we have to move forward in repairing it. So I would rather spend those dollars on the remediation of the lake. And they were here at 6 o'clock before this meeting many of the residents came to hear what's been going on. Unfortunately, we haven't had much, but I want to give them an update. On Wednesday the 15th, we had another Economic Development Committee meeting. It was very successful. I had 4 guest speakers come down to speak to the committee. Megan Taylor, she's the Regional Director for the New York State Economic Development. Ron Hicks, he's the Dutchess County Assistant County Executive. Sarah Lee, she's the CEO for Think Dutchess. And Don Minicino, he's the Director of Business Attraction for Think Dutchess. They all came down. They gave a brief overview of what they do and what their office offers to help us. It was very informative. Our planner, Michelle Robbins, came. She gave us a walkthrough of some of the proposed zoning changes, like I said before, that we want to propose, and we got some good feedback from the committee. And after, we always have general discussions, and it leads to many great ideas on how we could bring more businesses to our town. So I thank you to all of them who attend. Also, I met with a few developers who they want to develop senior housing and some market rate units. There's a need for senior and market rate units. This is what we've been discussing with our Economic Revitalization Committee. The senior units and market rate units, they're in high demand right now. Some of our proposed zoning changes will address these needs. We'll be having discussion in the September workshop with the town board about this. This could be a huge economic generator for the town. You know, we need a diverse economic base. We have to start thinking differently than we have before. We got to advance, otherwise we're going to get left behind. It's so very important that we start to think about our own economic destiny. We can't rely on these big companies anymore. On Monday, I received a call from Greg Connors. He is with Global Foundries, and he let me know that Global Foundries is having a 5% decrease in their workforce. That correlates to about a couple dozen jobs only in East Fishkill. But, it's imperative that we move forward with our economic plan. This just shows you that we can't rely on these big companies. We need to bring up small and medium-sized businesses here, get more jobs, build new buildings. That's what's going to help us keep our tax base lower. So, also, the budget season has begun, which is difficult as it always is. I met with some of the department heads and the controller and to discuss some of them, the larger departments. And, we are looking to increase some budgets, especially for paving. The highway superintendent's happy to hear that. one of the preliminary budgets. When I have the preliminary budget done, I will hand it over to the town board, and then they will go about reviewing it, seeing if they want to make any changes. About a month ago, maybe a little bit earlier, the comptroller, he emailed me, said we had a little good news that there was a little more flexibility with the tax cap. We have never broken the tax cap, and we don't plan on it, but he said there was a little bit more leeway, and we could possibly have, you know, more dollars for some more paving. Because the running go-to word around here is, you know, let's use it for more paving. So, but he followed up with another email that said, I don't remember the numbers, but he said that we could generate another $100,000, but we have another $190,000 worth of obligations with insurance premium increases and other increases. So we're already negative, even with the increase of the tax cap. So we will work through it. We will not break the tax cap, I'm most positive, but I'm grateful to our comptroller, and we have a great team, so thank you to all. Our Veterans Council is supporting Dutchess County's Year of the Veteran. We have nominated 5 East Fishkill veterans who will be marching in the Dutchess County Veteran Parade. I've been in contact with the director of Dutchess County Division of Veteran Services, Mark Coviello. And yeah, he's been a huge help to our council, by the way. The parade is on September 30th up in Poughkeepsie on Market Street. It starts at 1 o'clock, and there will be a special recognition there for Gold Star families. Those are the families who have lost a son or daughter in the service to our country. There'll be civic organizations and veterans groups and marching bands, and please be there to support our veterans. It's going to be really great. Again, it's on September 30th on Market Street in Poughkeepsie at 1 o'clock. Also, we had a young lady, Girl Scout Molly Veach. She came to Town Hall and asked if she could place a box in our lobby for the Girl Scout troops from St. Martin de Porres. They were collecting dry goods for needy families. It's nice that they do that, so thank you to Molly and the Girl Scouts for all your hard work. On August 22nd at the East Fishkill Rec Park, the senior picnic was held. It was hosted by Dutchess County's Office for the Aging, and it is put on for our East Fishkill seniors. It was a big success. A lot of seniors came out, so thank you to Dutchess County Office of the Aging for having it here every year. Also on August 22nd, myself, Councilman Beepan, accompanied Dutchess County Legislator John Metzger and Dutchess County Legislator Will Truitt to Washington, D.C. for a conference. We were invited there by the White House Department of Intergovernmental Services. It was a very nice event. We had a tour of the White House in the morning, and then our conference began at 10:30 at the Dwight D. Eisenhower office building. It's on the grounds at the White House. We listened to many speakers, including Kellyanne Conway, Assistant to the President, and she discussed in detail about the opioid epidemic and what the White House has been doing to help combat that. Frank Brogan, the Assistant Secretary of Education, Assistant Secretary of Housing, many others were there. They were very informative. They gave us all their contact information, and if they could help us, if we asked, they are willing to do it. So it was really exciting. Also, yesterday, we had a very productive meeting. Dutchess County Planning Department came down. Owen Rafter, the commissioner, came with the Deputy Commissioner Jennifer Kakuza and Dylan Tuttle. He's the Assistant Commissioner. They all came down here. They want to discuss things going on in our town and how they could be assistants. It's important that they assist us in our planning efforts, especially that we're going to be having some zoning changes soon. We discussed about how they can help us with grants and how they can aid us in when we apply for them. Also, many of the planning procedures, how they can help us with that, and other Dutchess County departments. Sometimes we have interaction with them and we have problems. They can be a help. So I thank you for them for coming. Today I met with one of our fire commissioners, Corey Earhart. We meet monthly to discuss issues that relate to the fire district and the town. was a very productive meeting. We are going to be having our next workshop at the Fire District Headquarters on September 13th. I'll announce that again later. But we will be having an open discussion with the fire commissioners because a lot of the people don't know what the fire commissioners do. And I think it's important to highlight that their building, their headquarters, and get the people to know them. So thank you to Corey for coming down today. And last but not least, during the past few weeks, there was a submittal to the Town Planning Board for the redevelopment of the Stormville Airport. The property right on 216, right in the hamlet of Stormville. The proposal has caused some great concern amongst a lot of residents. The situation, it highlights to me issues that we have under our current zoning ordinance, especially where many of our districts are mapped. Over my tenure on the town board, as a councilman, I raised concerns about where the industrial districts are mapped. These were places on the zoning map. They were placed there many, many years ago on properties that were they were undeveloped yet. So now residential developments have occurred all around them, and this renders many of those locations inappropriate. So during my tenure as councilman, we rezoned one industrial district, 2 residential. It abutted the Taconic State Parkway. And in light of these concerns, I feel it's time for this board to review the zoning map again with respect to the industrial districts that do not abut Interstate 84. These districts, they're scattered throughout the town, and they no longer seem appropriate. Therefore, I'm asking the town board tonight to set a public hearing at our next meeting, September 27, 2018, to impose a 9-month moratorium or a suspension of all activity, a timeout on all development in the industrial districts in the town that do not abut Interstate 84 until we can have a full review of their location and permitted uses can be had. So can I have a motion now to have a public hearing for a 9-month moratorium on all industrial districts in the town that do not abut 84?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, and that was all for my announcements. We call the roll. Everybody has received the July 26, 2018 minutes. Were there any additions, subtractions, modifications? Clerk? None? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the July 26, 2018 minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We have one addition to the agenda, which is the appointment of a temporary part-time typist. We'll do that last. Receipt and file. Clerk, we have a letter. I wrote a letter to the New York State Department of Transportation regarding the bridge on Route 82 right in town. A lot of concerns about it. It's in horrible shape, and I've been on the DOT many, many times to help us fix it, and a lot of times they do fill potholes and whatnot, but more is needed. So they followed up with a letter back, which I would like to receipt and file, and it says, "Dear Supervisor D'Alessandro, following up with you to relay additional information. During the winter, the road repairs are usually done with cold patch, a temporary measure. During this construction season, New York State DOT will be performing a milling and replacement of the existing asphalt on the bridge. This work is anticipated to be completed late summer, early fall. The bridge is scheduled for a superstructure replacement with an expected letting date when bids are open and the lower bidder is identified in early 2020. So I thank Lisa and I thank Lance McMillan for sending the letter and answering my concerns. And with that, we have a public hearing tonight, one that was adjourned. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on the Hopewell West Water District?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Opposed? The public hearing is now opened. Last we left off, we had discussion with members of Worley Homes about concerns about the water district. Many of them came to myself and the town engineer, met with them, and we answered a lot of their questions. What we are waiting on now is, we are waiting on the route which we are going to take, where the source of the water is going to be for Worley Homes. We have Fishkill Plains Water District is close to Worley Homes, and we are rehabbing the wells there. And since we have rehabbing the wells, we have yielded a large amount of water. Now, to verify that, we need to perform a 72-hour pump test. And it's costly, but it can help us with redundancy and other issues. Scott, you want to speak about the possibility of what the 72-hour pump test can help us with?
Well, in order to increase our water supply permit from the DEC, we have to perform the 72-hour pump test. And what that does, it establishes a safe yield for what the well can supply. And then, once we have those numbers, then we can figure exactly how many additional people we may be able to connect. So the original map plan report had the source coming from the Cannon well field. Fishkill Plains is a bit closer. It will result, I think, in some savings on the source end of it that can be applied to the distribution end of it, within the district itself. But to know for sure, we have to do the 72-hour pump test and get concurrence from the DEC and the Health Department. So at this stage, the fact that we haven't formed the district yet, I think it makes sense just to wait the other month, get the outcome of the pump test, and then, be definitive in our map plan report of what their source is going to be.
Okay. That sounds logical. Do any board members have any comments or questions? Or anybody from the public wish to speak about the Hopewell West Water District formation?
I would just like to thank you and Scott for being available and following up on these. Very positive, very informative, and the availability is thank you.
Well, it's very important to us that you're comfortable, and any other questions moving forward, we'd be happy to sit with you and clarify. Anybody else on the board? No? So we should adjourn it for one more month. Oh, and also I forgot to add that as we had a meeting with the Dutchess County Planning the other day, and grants came up, and I forgot to mention this to Hillside Lake people before, they can aid us in a income survey Dutchess County can do in those two developments, which can help us get more grants. So it's a tedious thing to do the income survey, and they're willing to assist us in that. So I just want to let you know that. That's good. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, okay, so with that, do I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing to September 27th
So
at
moved.
7 p.m.?
So moved.
No, I thought that's
No,
for zoning.
that's for zoning. We're going to amend this one till next month.
Okay.
Second.
Do a
You
motion
got-
and a second?
Yeah,
All in
motion.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The public hearing is adjourned till September 27th. Thank you. And we had another public hearing for the zoning amendments. I have, all the board members have received a draft of them. I don't have to open the public hearing, right?
No, you're just going to be adjourning.
Okay, so we'll adjourn. Do I need a motion?
Yes.
Okay. So do I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing on zoning amendments to October 25th, 2018, 7 p.m.?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you.
October 25th?
October 25th, thank you. I'm getting confused with the 27th. We will have discussion, our planner will be at the September 13th workshop to go in detail about the proposed zoning amendments. So at this time is courtesy of the floor. I invite any residents to come speak on any general town issues that you wish. Please come up to the podium, or any comments on the agenda, or any comments that you feel about the town, please come forward. Nobody tonight? You sure? Okay, well, with that, we'll start our resolutions. First resolution, authorize town justice to attend the training program. Deputy Supervisor, could you read that one?
Whereas Judge Frederick Romig has sent a request to the town board asking to attend New York State Magistrates Association 2018 annual conference to be held in Niagara Falls, September 23rd to 26th, 2018. Now therefore be it further resolved that the details of such conference are attached to with expenses to tuition, lodging, meals, and tolls. Be it further resolved that Judge Romig is hereby authorized to attend the Association 2018 annual conference in Niagara Falls.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor. So, the judge likes to keep up on his education, which is good. Do I have a motion to authorize town justice to attend the conference?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Ballpark idea, what's it gonna, 1,000?
I don't even think that.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I don't have.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you.
And the state reimburses.
Number 2, adopt the rules and regulations for East Fishkill Police Department. Councilman Marinaro, would you read that, please?
Whereas the town police chief has submitted an administrative flow chart to the town board for their review. And whereas the police chief has submitted the attached directive to be recognized as part of the rules and regulations for the East Fishkill Police Department. And now therefore be it resolved that the town board has reviewed the attached flow chart and directive and authorized the adoption thereof.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, do I have a motion to adopt the rules and regulations for East Fishkill Police Department?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Everybody has read the directive in the flow chart? Okay. Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 3, authorize settlement of a tax certiorari. Councilman Bepan, would you read that, please?
From time to time, property owners file Article 7 proceedings challenging their assessments following denials by the Board of Assessment Review. Whereas following negotiations between town attorney and the town assessor, the tax certiorari set forth herein is able to be resolved, and whereas it would appear to be in the best interest of the town to resolve upon these terms and conditions. Now be it resolved that the town attorney be and hereby is authorized to execute stipulation of settlement, settle the following matter. Grid number, there's actually 2 grid numbers here. And be it further resolved that the town attorney be hereby authorized to take all necessary steps and appropriate settlement in this matters, and that all officials of the town be hereby authorized to enable and effectuate the intent of the order once it is entered by a justice of the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to authorize the settlement of the tax certiorari?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Well, this is, we don't have a lot of them, thank God.
Thank God, no.
Yep, so,
And this is less than $1,500 on town taxes, so.
that shows the competency of our assessor, so we appreciate
very
that.
good
Have a
job.
good assessor. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 4, authorize 72-hour water test for Fishkill Plains. So as before we discussed, we have rehabbed the wells at Fishkill Plains, and we now want to perform a 72-hour pump test in order to amend the water supply permit. So with that, I'm going to authorize the engineer to perform the 72-hour pump test. The estimated cost is $40,000. That's the total estimated cost for piping replacement, meters, pumps, and control upgrades is $60,000. Can we add to the agenda to perform the 72-hour pump test and the final cost to be no more than $60,000, or should we say higher than that?
Not to exceed 60?
Not to exceed
Well, the
60?
pump test is 40. The estimated cost for piping replacement is 60. At this point, the only thing I might add is something may, come along. So if you want to have a little cushion, a little contingency, it might be wise to do that.
So it's 40 plus the 60,
It's 40 plus two different
Plus the
things.
60,
One is the pump test itself
and what is the piping replacement?
within the building.
Okay.
When we started pulling the piping apart to replace the wells, you could see how what used to be like an artery, what used to be this big is this big, plus there's a lot of corrosion. So while we have the system offline, it's much easier to replace that piping
How
now
old is
than
that piping?
Original.
Original. Okay. So would 10%,
70,
would
you know,
10% be enough cushion, or?
sorry?
Would 10% be enough cushion?
Yeah, I think so. Let's go with that.
Okay, so can we amend it to say, not to exceed 110,000? Is that okay?
Well, the estimated cost is 40.
40 and 60.
That's for the pump test.
That's for the test itself.
You get another 60 on the other page.
So basically, what we're looking to do is gut all the piping. There's many valves we can't operate that are corroded. They're on the health department's hit list for improvements. We found out once we connected to the county, and we have a brand-new meter in that shed on Lake Walton Road, that our meters have been giving us false readings now for years. They're showing more water than we're actually using, that, as well as some cavitation that was going on in the well. And they're just, old meters, so we're going to replace, because it's very important to have accurate meter reading. When you try to hook up new systems, the health department's always looking, okay, what's your meter reading? So we want to replace those meters. One pump, booster pump is bad, it's leaking. We've been nursing that along for a while, and we want to replace that. We're going to do a control upgrade that will allow larger pumps in the wells, because we anticipate more yield. And by going with variable speed drives versus hard starts, we don't have to upgrade the generator and the electrical service coming into the plant. So
So we would have replaced most of that piping, the meters, and the booster
much of
pump
this,
anyway?
much of this was in that project that we didn't go forward with.
Right, with the filters?
The filters.
With the filters, right,
So
okay.
much of this was part of that project, yes.
Okay. Okay.
So Scott, you said these were the original pipes. Now, with this upgrading that we're doing, what do you see the longevity of this? I mean, is there any guarantees that,
Well,
let's
it's
say,
going to
3
be
years
all,
from
it's
now,
going to
we
be
might-
all PVC piping now, so we shouldn't have to worry about, the corrosion in the future.
What about pumps?
Well,
what's
pumps
their
have a life. Pumps just don't last forever, if you can
10
get,
years?
if you can get 10 years, The fact that we're going to switch over to variable speed will prolong the life, because right now our pumps just kick on hard, and, it's just like popping a clutch, so to speak. It just kicks on hard. By going with the variable speed, they ramp up and they ramp down. So it's gentler on everything. It's gentler on the piping, it's gentler on the pumps. It's the same pump, but it's the driver that operates the pump, so. But
Any
one
other
is bad,
questions?
we're not gonna replace the second one, because currently, I think that was replaced just a few years ago. That one still functions okay, but there was a bad one that we have to replace.
Have we done any maintenance on
Another,
those old
just another thing I want to add, for some reason, one of the pipes coming from the well was only a 2-inch line. And I don't know why, way back when, they only ran a 2-inch line, but we're increasing that to a 4-inch line, which is going to help, with our yield. So we can't perform that pump test until we replace the 2-inch with a 4-inch, because we have to have accurate results from our pump test.
Councilman, you had a concern?
No, I'm good.
No? Okay, so do I have a motion to authorize the 72-hour pump water test for Fishkill Plains Water District and add not to exceed $110,000?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Number 5, authorize hiring of a seasonal laborer for the Highway Department. Councilman Franco, could you read that?
Sure. Whereas the highway superintendent has interviewed and hired a full-time seasonal laborer for the highway department, and whereas the highway superintendent has submitted a memo to the town board. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board does hereby acknowledge the hiring of Peter LaCalamita at an hourly rate of $11.25 as a full-time seasonal laborer in the highway department. Be it further resolved, upon completion of his task, Mr. Peter LaCalamita will be removed from the payroll.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to acknowledge the hiring of seasonal laborer for the highway?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 6, appoint a member to the Rec Advisory Board. We're going to table this for tonight. I'm going to have the applicant come for executive session next meeting to meet the town board. So we'll table number 6. We had a addition to the agenda, appoint a town hall temporary part-time typist. Deputy Supervisor, could you read that?
Whereas the town is in need of, from time to time, for temporary employees, commonly referred to as floaters, and to assist in the clerical functions necessary to operate the town departments. The town super has interviewed an applicant and recommends Lenore Dewey to the town board. Now therefore be resolved that the applicant is hereby appointed as a temporary part-time typist, being paid $13.83. And be it further resolved that said typist shall work at the pleasure of the town supervisor in accordance with the previously established rules and regulations.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to appoint town hall temporary part-time typist?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. And I do have one from the floor. It is a resolution retaining technology support services, whereas the town must maintain a large technology infrastructure which operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the supervisor requested proposals from our current providers and others to properly address the town's needs, including 24-hour availability, and the supervisor has reviewed the proposals with the town controller and recommend providers will provide greater support at a lower cost. Therefore, be it resolved that Matt Longafro be and hereby is appointed to the technology manager at an hourly rate of $75 per hour, 4 hours a week, and such additional hours as deemed necessary and approved by the supervisor, and that Sullivan Data Management be and hereby is retained in accordance with the next proposal for $48,500 per annum, which includes 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 support. Now, it was very important for the town to move to a service for IT for our police department, especially that gives us support of 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Unfortunately, this past winter has and with the tornado storm, we were down with our police department, with our services, much longer than was necessary. So I had gotten some different proposals from different companies, and unfortunately, the one provider that we had was substantially more, and I have to make the change. So do I have a motion to retain the technology support services?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Well, discussion.
Yep.
Any idea of what we think we're going to save?
Right, that's what I was gonna ask.
Well, the way the contracts are structured, there's a fixed payment and then a variable part if, for particular weeks when we need more coverage. The fixed part, we're anticipating about 47,000 savings.
47,000 savings?
Right.
So it may be that we pay some more in the variable, but I don't know how much more, but it won't be 47,000 more. So.
We were figuring somewhere in the $30,000 neighborhood, but in saying that, we will be using those dollars to replace equipment is sorely needed. We had to replace emergency a server at the police department, and I think we've exhausted our budget. Have we, Mark, for the year for IT for
Yeah, it's
for
only
equipment?
10,000 a year. That one server eats that up, and
It's unfortunate, but this will give us a little more leeway for the future to upgrade our IT. Any other questions, concerns? No? Okay, do I have a motion and a second?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay. Any budget transfers tonight?
Not tonight.
No, not tonight. I said that. I did it there in my announcements.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And, so just so everybody knows, I have added the town highway superintendent and our police chief to every voting meeting now. So when it comes time for courtesy of the floor, if you have any comments or questions for them, they're here to answer your questions. I thought it was very appropriate to have that, and I felt that also they can give reports as needed. And with that, we are going to have some comments. Why don't we start with the highway superintendent?
Okay. So within the next couple of weeks, we'll be painting some lines on our Lake Walton Road, Robinson Lane, Creamery Road, and part of our Shenandoah area. And we are still continuing our paving, not full roads, but wherever it's in very bad shape, we're trying to correct. We've been still continuing on with our drainage work, and we're going to be working on Eder Road this week, finishing up, and then also White Pond Road, Hosner Mountain Road, and, of course, filling the potholes that come every day.
Potholes, there's potholes? In town there are?
They're everywhere.
Okay.
So, and of
you.
course, school's gonna be starting soon too, so the buses will be out there and we'll be dealing with it, and everybody else.
Thank you, Ken. Would the police chief like to add anything?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Council, for allowing me to update the community on some ongoing and upcoming events that the police department's going to be involved in. Councilman Marinero is going to reference a Narcan save that we had about a week ago now. But in regards to that, I received a phone call from a Miss Kelly Lingard, who was the founder and CEO of a new business called Unshattered on Route 82 in town. Myself and my administrative staff went and visited the business, and we were introduced to 6 truly amazing women, all of who are in recovery from addiction and who are on a pathway towards sustained sobriety and economic independence. The business employs these women to make and design bags, pocketbooks, backpacks, and accessories. They use reclaimed or repurposed material to make these items. People have brought deceased loved ones, cherished clothing articles, other sentimental items, and these women have turned these articles into gorgeous bags and accessories. We posted our meeting on our Facebook website, the department Facebook website, earlier this week, and to date, we've actually reached over 20,000 people. So I really want to sincerely thank Ms. Lingard and her amazing team for giving us the opportunity to meet all of them and to hear some truly inspiring stories about recovery. I'd also like to double down on what the town highway superintendent had said. I just want to remind everybody that school's reopening next week. Thousands of children will be taking school buses to and from school, many for the first time. I'm just asking the residents of the town and the folks that drive our town roads to drive responsibly and to be especially careful during this busy time of year for youngsters. And finally, the East Fishkill Police Department will be hosting 2 CRAZE classes, which is the civilian response to an active shooter event. These are being held on September 8th and September 22nd. While both classes are filled at this point, we're encouraging the public and organizations who may be interested in receiving this type of training or training in what they call Stop the Bleed to contact the police department at our main line and speak to Lieutenant John Wood to coordinate a time to participate in, unfortunately, this very relevant instruction in the times we live in. To date, the Town of East Fishkill Police Department has trained more than 75 citizens in Stop the Bleed and 20 in the CRAZE. And that will conclude my report.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Council, would you like to say anything? Councilman?
Sure. As always, I'd like to begin with thanking our police, fire, and EMS, all of our emergency services. I've been listening to the scanner this month. I know it's been very busy, so thank you for your efforts, and I know a lot of those calls come in the middle of the night. It has been a very busy month, dealing with a lot of phone calls, emails, text messages regarding Copart. I'd just like to thank you for reaching out to me. I hope I was able to assist along with my other colleagues. I know we received a number of messages. And I'd like to encourage you to keep doing so with any other future issues in the town. I'd like to also thank the board for allowing us to change the meeting date till tonight, so the supervisor and I can partake in that conference down at the White House. It was very informative, and I will be putting those contacts that were provided to us to good use. I'd also like to thank the Recreation Department and everyone else that was involved with Town Fishing Day, along with the senior picnics. I heard it was a great time by all. I hung out down at the Red Wing Park while they were fishing. I did not partake, but it looked like a good time. So once again, thank you, and I will see you all at Community Day.
Okay, Councilman?
Sure, a few things on recreation. The Recreation Department is looking to expand activities for teenagers, and we are looking for teens who have bands, especially garage bands. If you are a teenager with a garage band and are interested in performing in town, please contact our rec office for more information. Kenny, maybe you and I can put together one.
We gotta do that. We can do it.
Also, the Recreation Department held their first ever Teen Trivia Night on August 10th for teens ages 14 to 17. It was a huge success. The rec office would like to thank all the great teens who showed up and made it such a fun night. Another Teen Trivia Night will be planned after school begins this fall. The trip to the Broadway show Smokey Joe's Cafe is already sold out. Sign-up has now begun for the Radio City Christmas Spectacular show, and they are going quick, so if you're interested in the Radio City trip, please contact the Recreation Office as soon as you can. And as we near the end of summer, a very big thank you to our summer camp and Red Wing directors, counselors, and lifeguards. It's been a wonderful season. They had a great staff, and thanks for all their hard work. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Marinaro?
Yeah, so a little report from the police department. On August 13, 2018, officer handled the report of a larceny of credit cards from a vehicle. Upon investigation, a suspect was identified through surveillance video at each location. The next day, Detective Greg Stannis and Lieutenant John Wood located a suspect, Matthew Smith, age 33, on Main Street in Poughkeepsie. Mr. Smith was arrested and subsequently charged with 2 counts of grand larceny, 4th degree. Mr. Smith was also wanted by New York State Department of Correction, a community supervision for violating a parole. Mr. Smith was arraigned in the town of East Fishkill Court by the Honorable Judge Brian Rudner and was remanded to the Dutchess County Jail with no bail pending a future court date. Also, on August 18, 2018, officers were dispatched to an address on Warren Drive for a report of a 29-year-old female who had overdosed. The patient was reported to be in a bathroom up against the door, and the caller was unable to gain entrance. Upon arrival, Officer Kenneth Knapp and Ralph Bertoldi were able to gain entry into the bathroom. They were quickly able to determine that the patient had overdosed on heroin. Officer Knapp administered 2 doses of Narcan to the patient, who became conscious and alert while the officer was still on the scene. The female patient was transported to a local hospital for treatment. Besides this, I asked the chief to supply us with how many saves in the last few years we had, and I believe a total of 32 was between the year of 2015 to 2018 from Narcan usage by the police department. Great work. Police department, of course, our local volunteer fire department, working every day for the community. We want to thank them. The other thing that I want to say that we have Community Day coming up we've been going around, I personally been going around to see if we could have some big sponsorship for this event. Community Day last year was a great success. We tried to make it even better. And anyone in the community that really wants to take some spots and donate some money, it will be greatly appreciated. The money that we collect, it's usually used for the children during summer camp, some needy families that cannot afford to pay for the cost, also for families that cannot afford for their kids to do sports in the community. So hopefully some big people, actually some have already committed to this great cause. I would hope that other people in the community would come forward at any time, contact Jan McHugh, or either me or Peter Cassidy. We're involved with the Community Day, and we will come and talk to you and make sure that this happens. That's basically it. And again, we are, what is it, September 15th, right, Peter? Yeah. Community Day.
Deputy Supervisor?
Real quick, just a little bit more on Community Day. We mailed letters out to all the businesses in town and asked for support and donations, and we actually did really good. We actually paid for the mailing. That was with the first sponsor.
Excellent.
Saturday, September 15th, parade starts at 2 p.m. We'll be going down the normal route. Motor vehicles will line up on Palin Road facing 82. Antique classic cars will line up on Arrowhead facing 82. Make sure you face 82 because it's no fun turning them all around. And walkers will be lining up on Trinca. Events at the field from 3 to 7. Some of the people that are going to be there, we're going to have fire and police department displays, food, community organizations. There's a photo contest sponsored by the bank. We've got the chain gang coming from the band. Is that you, Ken?
Not my band.
Okay.
That one.
The illusionist Brian Dutcher will be back in town, and there's going to be a classic car show and a petting zoo. A lot of fun. Thanks to all the people that have already sponsored and people that come out and support us every year. We appreciate it. 23rd year, I think.
Says it on the thing.
22nd, 23rd year?
You started this Community Day, didn't you?
How many years have I been here?
Are you the originator?
Yeah.
You're the originator.
I'm getting old. I don't
Thank
remember
you
how many years.
Getting.
I'd like to thank Councilman Cassidy for starting Community Day 23 years ago. It is a huge success for our town. It is attended by many people outside of our town even. It's a great day. Like they said, September 15th. I'd like to thank all our residents also who have called and emailed and come out and are concerned about things going on in our town. And I'm happy you do that. It's our job to hear from you. Please do so. More the better, I say. This is the process. It's we live in a great town. We live in a great country, and it's your right to talk to your elected officials. So I thank you for contacting us, and I want everybody to have a safe and enjoyable Labor Day. Good luck to all the students returning to school. Good luck to all the students off to college. We wish you the best of luck. Of course, thank you to all our emergency services, our fire department and EMS. So without you, we couldn't have such a wonderful town. And I'd like to thank all the staff in East Fishkill. I don't say it enough. All the staff from our highway department to our police department, town hall, recreation, everyone is really, we have a tremendous amount of good employees here. They really care about your town. They work hard for you, and I'm thankful to have them, and I'm thankful for my professional staff, the attorney, the engineer, and the comptroller, and all our electeds as well. Thank you, thank you. And the farmer's market?
Yeah, I don't know what the next date is.
What, Councilman Bepan, do you know when the
When's
next?
the next farmer's market?
I'm not sure. I know
It was
sometimes
every other
it's
weekend.
Yeah, this
wasn't it?
weekend, I think it's 2 weeks from this weekend.
But
every other
the
weekend.
farmer's market is actually growing a little bit. It's actually been well attended, except for the one day it rained.
Right.
They got great donuts.
You'd like that.
Oh, you like the donuts better.
Hey, Nick, just before you close, I wanted to just mention one thing. As far as Cape Art and the community, I just want to thank the community for the way you guys responded. This is our community, it's your community, this is your neighborhood. It's a great thing that you got in touch with your representatives, which are us, and we're here to really serve the community the best way we can. So, great, thank you, and this is really the way our local government should work. We work together and make sure that we could keep East Fishkill still a great place to live. Thank you.
And thank you. And to add to that, for the September 27th will be the public hearing on the moratorium for all the I-zone districts in town that do not abut Interstate 84. If it is appropriate to have our meeting at a different location because of the amount of people that will attend, we'll make sure that we have a proper venue to have that everybody can come and be heard. So I just want to make sure that you are well aware of that, and I will be posting it on Channel 22, our website, our Facebook page, if the venue is changed other than our town hall. And our next workshop meeting is September 13th. It is going to be at the Fire District Headquarters on Route 52. It will not be live because we will be filming it. We don't have the capability to film live, but I feel it's important to highlight our fire district. It's important that people know what our fire commissioners do, and everybody knows how important our volunteer firefighters are to our town. And we will have a discussion with our commissioners, and also we will discuss with our planner our zoning amendments, and that will be at the Fire District Headquarters on September 13th. I will advertise that also on our Facebook pages, websites, and Channel 22. And our next regular meeting is September 27th. With that, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.